For the longest time I thought Amber and I were steady. I wasn't the type to snoop. Never scrolled through her phone. Never checked her location. Never hovered over her shoulder when she went out. If she said she was grabbing dinner with friends, I trusted her. If she stayed out late with coworkers, I didn't question it. To me, trust wasn't optional. It was the whole backbone. And Amber had that energy, the kind that drew attention without effort. Loud laugh, bright smile, always the star of every gathering. First I admired that. But slowly things shifted. First small cracks. A sharper edge to her voice, like she thrived on testing boundaries. Little things. Weekday hangovers, pricey credit card charges she never explained, girls' trips that came back with gaps in the story. I told myself to let it go. I didn't want to become my father. Jealous, controlling, suffocating. Then Caleb showed up. I saw him once at her office party. Flashy, tall, too quick with jokes, far too comfortable with Amber. I recognized him immediately. The friendly coworker who was anything but. When I asked, Amber brushed me off. Said I was paranoid. I didn't push. My thought was simple. If you've got to chase loyalty, you've already lost it. Still deep down the signs were there. I just didn't want to admit them. Until the night she brought up the trip. That's when everything shifted. We were sitting in the kitchen, half distracted by takeout and our phones. She spoke lightly, too lightly. A few of us from work are planning a weekend at the lake, she said, sipping wine like it was nothing. Cabin, barbecue, boats, the usual. He nodded. Sounds fun. She smirked, sly, like daring me to react. Then she dropped it casually. Caleb's coming too. There it was. A throwaway line hiding a loaded truth. I set my fork down and studied her, calm and even. Didn't realize you and Caleb were that close. She shrugged, eyes still on her screen. It's a group trip, Gordon. Don't start. Not starting, I said evenly. Just noticing. Finally she looked up, eyes sharp. You're not gonna be that guy, are you? I shook my head. Nope. Not gonna be any guy. That threw her more than an argument would've. She tapped her nails against her glass, searching for a comeback, but had nothing. She fussed with dishes that didn't need cleaning, moving around like she hadn't just sparked a fire. But I already knew what I'd do. This wasn't miscommunication. This wasn't fixable. It was a choice. A test she never thought I'd pass by walking away. I stood and said calmly, "If you go, don't bother coming back." She laughed sharply. God, Gordon, you're ridiculous. I didn't reply. Just grabbed my keys and left for a drive. Sometimes silence cuts deeper than shouting. And I wasn't bluffing. The next days dragged like the house itself was waiting. Amber acted like nothing happened. Packed her bag, laughed too loud on calls, moved around like the queen of her stage. Every so often she'd glance my way, waiting for me to cave. I didn't. No fights. No begging. Just stillness. Friday came. She zipped her duffel, stood at the door. Last chance. You're seriously not gonna say anything? I leaned on the counter, coffee in hand. You already heard me. She rolled her eyes. It's just a weekend. You're blowing this up like a soap opera. I stayed quiet. She picked up her bag, paused as if to speak, but stayed silent. Then she left. The door shut with a soft thud. I stood there steady. No sadness, no fury, just certainty. The line was crossed, no coming back. I texted the locksmith we'd arranged when she first mentioned the trip. By evening the locks were changed. After that I hauled out storage bins from the garage. Her clothes, shoes, makeup. All packed neatly, labeled no tantrums, just order. By nightfall her life was boxed. By morning it was delivered to her parents' house 2 towns away. She made her decision. Now she had to live with it. Sunday afternoon, I sat on the porch with a cold beer when my phone buzzed. Motion at the front door. I pulled up the camera. There was Amber, sunglasses on her head, duffel at her feet. She bent down, tried her old key. Nothing. Jiggle, frown, try again harder. Frustration spread across her face. She grabbed her phone, and seconds later mine started to ring. I let it hum a few times before picking up. "Gordon," she said, her voice tight, pretending calm. "The lock's broken. I can't get in." I waited a beat before answering. "It's not broken," I said. Silence hung on the line. "You don't live here anymore," I added. More silence. I could almost hear her brain stalling, trying to process it. "You're joking," she finally muttered, a nervous laugh breaking through. "Gordon, come on. Don't do this. Not over something this dumb." But I wasn't joking, and it wasn't dumb. "No," I said flatly. "We're doing this because you crossed the line, and I'm done pretending you didn't." Her voice spiked, desperate now. "It was just a weekend. You're making this into something it's not." I didn't argue. She wasn't owed another debate. "You'll hear from my lawyer," I replied and ended the call. The phone lit up instantly. Text after text. "Gordon, please don't do this. Let's talk." I didn't do anything wrong. I silenced the notifications, leaned back in my chair, and watched the sun sink behind the trees. The beer was cold, and for the first time in months, the world was quiet. But she didn't stop. Messages, calls, voicemails, ignored. Amber spun through every stage. Rage, guilt, pleading. I answered with silence. Close to midnight, just as I was ready for bed, another notification appeared. A voice message. Without thinking, I played it. Her voice cracked, stripped of its usual edge. "Gordon, please. Listen to me. It's not what you think. Something happened at the lake. Caleb. He wasn't who I thought he was." Pause, then a shaky sob. "I made a mistake. I shouldn't have trusted him. I shouldn't have gone. Please." The message cut out. I stared at the phone, not angry, not even sad, just detached. Fitting, really. The man she'd risked everything for turned out to be nothing. Another buzz. Another call. Another text. "I didn't mean for this to happen. Please, Gordon. I need you." But she didn't need me. She needed a savior, someone to erase her choices. And I wasn't that man anymore. Not for her. I set the phone face down, switched off the lights, and went to bed. No doubt. No regret. The next morning, the silence wasn't because Amber had quit. It was because I had blocked her completely. No more texts, no more calls, no more open doors. Still, echoes found their way back. Madison, one of Amber's friends, called from an unknown number. I let it roll to voicemail. Her message dripped with fake concern. "Gordon, hey, Amber's a wreck. Please just talk to her. Don't throw it all away over one mistake." I deleted it halfway through. Then her mother tried. The same woman who once told me I was the best thing that ever happened to her daughter. "Gordon, please. Amber's not doing well. We're worried." I didn't call back. She wasn't mine to worry about anymore. Over time, bits of the aftermath reached me. Caleb disappeared completely. No calls, no job, no trace. When Amber tried to reach him, he ghosted. Her so-called friends drifted too. Drama's fun when it's someone else's problem, but when it becomes real, people scatter. She ended up at her parents' house. No husband, no friends, no career. And every time she looked in the mirror, she saw exactly how she got there. Meanwhile, I was moving forward. Closing accounts, separating assets, making sure she had no path back into my life. Sometimes when you let someone stay too long, they start thinking the house is theirs. The solution is simple. Change the locks, never hand over another key. A few weeks later, the divorce was finalized. No shouting, no drawn-out fights, no heartfelt apologies. Amber didn't resist. Maybe she knew it was pointless. Maybe she just didn't have anything left. I heard through the grapevine that she picked up part-time work at a cousin's retail shop. A quiet, low-profile existence, far from the glitter she once chased. I didn't care enough to confirm it. My life was elsewhere now. I sold the old house, bought a smaller place in the city, cut ties with every mutual contact. Life wasn't loud anymore. It wasn't lonely either. Real peace doesn't demand attention. It settles in like steady air. I dated again, carefully, at my own pace. noticing the little things, the things that mattered. Amber, on the other hand, tried dating too. But the cracks she once painted over were obvious now. Nothing lasted. Weeks at most. Months later, I was at dinner with someone new. Elise. Kind, grounded, the sort of person who didn't need to test others to feel secure. Halfway through the meal, I saw Amber across the room. She saw me too. For a moment she froze, looked ready to bolt. Then she walked straight over, ignoring Elise completely. "Gordon," she whispered. "Can we talk?" I set down my fork, met her eyes calmly. "There's nothing left to say, Amber. Please," she begged. "I made mistakes. See it now. I've changed." I shook my head. "No. You're exactly who you've always been. And I'm finally who I should have been all along." She stood there a moment, pride crumbling, then turned and walked out of the restaurant. I smiled at Elise, picked up my fork and finished my meal. After that night I never saw Amber again. Sometimes people asked if I regretted it. If I should have given her another chance. My answer never changed. Well, because I didn't lose anything worth keeping. Amber wasn't evil. She didn't mean to destroy us. But she played games, convinced there'd be no price. She mistook patience for weakness, love for permission. She forgot that even quiet men have limits. Ignore red flags long enough, they stop looking like warnings. They become wallpaper. Until one day you see the pattern for what it is and you walk away. I didn't leave in rage. I left in dignity. And I never looked back.